call the meeting for the April 10th Jamaica Select Board. First order of business is to call for any additions to the agenda. I have one. We've had a request from the Jamaica Community Arts Council. We have a member here representing that, so we'll add him to the agenda.
2 members.
Oh, we have 2 members. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure that you guys knew each other. Affiliated. So we do have representatives who are going to talk to us. Are there any other agenda additions? Anybody? Hearing none, we'll move on to the first order of business, which is to approve the minutes of the March 27th Select Board meeting. They have been distributed to everybody. Everyone had a copy?
Do we have a scribe?
Yes, we do.
Oh,
We have a volunteer scribe.
a volunteer one.
I said volunteer, we put a gun to our head. Is that called volunteer? Yeah. Okay, so the minutes of the March 27th. Anybody have any corrections, deletions, or concerns about those minutes? Have we all had an opportunity to read them and look them over? Everybody nodding yes?
I move we accept the March 27th.
I have moved.
I'll second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those minutes are approved as written. Next order of business is to approve the minutes of the Jamaica Town meeting from the 7th of March. We've distributed them around again. These need to be signed, so I'll have these copies signed by each one of us. Unless there's some additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes of the town meeting on March 7th.
I move we accept those minutes for the town meeting for March 7th, 2017.
I'll second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those minutes are approved, and I'll circulate them later on when we're doing all the signature things. Make sure we get all this signed.
We go on. Did we go on?
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none?
I thought maybe that was the new way we did it.
Yeah, knew it. We just typed it. I forgot that these were more than just approved. These actually, because that's the town meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. The next order of business is approving time sheets for town listeners, highway and transfer station, and we will look those over and do that in the session as is our usual. And number 5, sign the select board orders. The next order of business is we have 4 excess weight permits. They've been reviewed. We have one from the Camp Precast Concrete Products, Inc., Milton. Another one is from A.S. Clark and Sons of Newfane. Frost Wells and Pumps from East Dorset. And Carlton Trucking out of Londonderry. They've been reviewed. They have their insurances attached to them, checks, receipts. Any discussions? Again, for those of you keeping track, we're going to add the usual restrictions. I think I gave you a copy of them the other day. And so I'd take a motion to instruct the road commissioner to sign those on behalf of this select board.
I so move.
Do I have a second? Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, passes. And the road commissioner will be so instructed. Next order of business is, Judy has some questions about how to,
Well, presentation actually.
presentation for the collecting of organic waste. Judy, you have the floor.
Okay, basically what I'm going to do is to try to go through everything. And if you hold your questions and comments till I'm finished, that would be really helpful. If you have something that doesn't make sense or you have some ideas, just jot it down so that I have a flow, okay? What it's about, and I have the sheet there for each of you. It's the Brattleboro curb, oh actually not Brattleboro, but it's the curbside composting. And that is that Wyndham Solid Waste district is beginning to collect by the Act 148 the types of organic waste separately from all of the other wastes. And that starts July the 1st along with our recycling. So we've kind of been barraged with new things that are coming along. And on this sheet here is a list of things that fit under that category of organic waste. What I'd like to do, and it's specifically for the people watching by television, is to read just very quickly this list so they know what we're talking about. Comes under the first one, the non-recyclable paper and cardboard. Tissues, paper towels, used paper napkins, milk, juice cartons, soiled or waxed cardboard, soiled or waxed paper, paper plates and cups, cardboard egg cartons, frozen food containers, sugar or flour bags. Under food scraps, bread, rolls, crackers, rice, pasta, beans, eggshells, cheese, dairy products, cooked or raw meats, cooked or raw fish, shellfish, fruits, vegetables, and peelings of these, tea bags, coffee grounds and filters, cooking oils and fats. And other compostables would be pet waste, which, though not the plastic, I don't know what the plastic ones even look like, so. Small wooden crates, small amounts of yard waste. We take yard waste anyway in our, on the grounds. So this is what we're talking about right now in terms of how we're going to get this particular thing done. Wyndham Solid Waste actually sent out an RFQ asking the 3 primary dealers in the vicinity to give us a bid on collecting these. The 3 were Triple T, TAM from over in near the Arlington area, and Casella, who is has a place up in Rutland, and actually they're in New York State too. It's New York and Vermont. And the 2 last ones did not send in a bid. The only one who sent in a bid was Triple T. So the information that I'm going to be giving you around that comes from Triple T. And there are 2 different bids that they have sent in. First depends upon whether all 8 towns, and the 8 towns are listed here in the Wyndham Solid Waste District as Dover, Jamaica, Reedsboro, Stratton, Townsend, Wardsboro, Whitingham, and Wilmington. These are the 8 towns that will be involved in this collection of the organics. So really what has to happen is all 8 really need to agree to what is two popular people on our board.
It's rescue, she goes, if it's fire, I go.
Yep, I'll just wait till we figure it out.
All those calls for rescue.
It's odd.
Yeah, that sounds like an announcement. That's hidden just about everybody. They were gonna make an announcement, because they're calling everybody on the planet, so I don't think it's fire or rescue.
Oh, okay.
So,
Actually, they had an issue in, what town was that? Oh, in Dallas,
For
Texas?
2 hours or something.
Yeah, where all the whistles went off.
Okay, moving
Okay,
on.
so let me move on. Triple T sent us this, their proposal of 2 different ways in which it can be collected. And if we are not able to get all 8 towns, the first plan will not work. The second plan is that we would kind of go on our own. The dumping or the tipping of the waste would occur in the Wyndham Solid Waste Yard down in Brattleboro. So what I'm going to do is give you the prices for both sets. The first one is if the 8 towns go along with this particular plan, okay, the towns that I've listed. First of all, Triple T will haul, that means when they pick it up, at $90, and Wyndham Solid Waste would charge us $25 tipping fee. Now, the price actually is $50 according to the tonnage. However, it will get shared among these 8 towns, so our amount of money will probably be around $25. Oh, thank you. The other thing is that they will come 4 times every week or every week. So the hauling would be $90, and the cost of tipping, which would be pouring it into the dump, would be listed as the 4 times. And weekly it would cost us $115, monthly $460, and yearly the cost would be $5,520. Now, as you know, this has been a part of our trash, really, that we're doing. So one of the things, well, I'll talk about that in a little while. If not all 8 towns go through with this and agree to this plan, and there are some towns, it's important to realize this, some towns are thinking that they want to go out on their own, so it might be that it's not going to work. If that is the case, Triple T will charge us a hauling of $145 that Jamaica will pay, and the tipping will be, again, about $25 because they'll dump it in down in Brattleboro, Wyndham Solid Waste. So yearly, that cost would be $8,160 to remove our organics. The one positive thing about this, other than the fact that we're going to be doing it, is that by looking at the list of what they're going to be taking, a lot of that will be out of the trash, which is where the compactor is right now. And so that cost may reduce some, because if you look at the list, a lot of this stuff goes into our trash right now, so it would be just shifted to another place. And there is, so this would be the cost. We will get a dumpster, a 2 cubic yard container for $250 from a grant that Wyndham Solid has gotten. And so that will help us. And where that goes on our land, I'm not sure, but at any rate, we will have that. So how they calculate how much we will be paying for tipping, Wyndham Solid calculates it's going to be between 800 and 1,000 pounds. And the idea is that they're not going to weigh Jamaicas, they're not going to weigh Dovers and all of the other 6, but they will weigh the transportation, the haul. and then split that up into these different numbers, okay? So, the container that I was talking about is bear-proof, and hopefully that means that they'll be able to stay out of it. Because I know our container, our compactor has a problem with bears. This is for a 1-year contract, and with the idea of extending it 2 more years. And so that the hauling review will be reviewed each year. The more people and organizations and restaurants and stores that can use it, in other words, when Triple T comes up and starts collecting, let's say from D&K's where their organic waste is, or the restaurants around, our prices will reflect that by probably going down. So that's one of the things why I think Triple T is taking it, is that they are hoping that it will increase their business in terms of picking up organic waste, because everybody's going to have to do this. This is a statewide issue. Let's see, I think I've gotten, the other thing that comes along with the grant that Wyndham Solid Waste has gotten is that they will do training of our community people. And I have talked to Kristen at Wyndham Solid Waste, and we're looking at sometime in May or June where we'll meet and have her talk about what can be picked up and how. And then also, they will talk to the attendants in the different towns, like Dan would go and have some education on that. So, that's basically what is happening, and perhaps, Lou, you have anything to add to that, if you want to go?
Sure.
You can do that.
The idea behind having all towns participate is what Judy was kind of alluding to, is that the idea that it will promote organics, not just from town transfer stations, but from other entities around around that loop, mostly restaurants and places like D&K's. I think Judy has an RFP out for your recycling and trash hauling that you're going to be seeing in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
If you don't elect to participate in the group, or there are a number of towns that don't, therefore the group thing doesn't work, then whoever gets the RFP servicing contract for that proposal will be the one that will probably haul your compost. One way or the other, you have to collect compost. That's the law. A lot of people in this town use backyard composting, but they can't compost all the things that are part of this project. So it's a very good thing. If it turns out that it costs more money to participate in this group than it does to have your private hauler, whoever you choose, do it, it may still be beneficial to participate in the group because it will promote composting elsewhere and will reduce the amount of trash that gets brought into
The
the
more
landfill.
the merrier, basically.
Yeah. The idea is to take this stuff, get it out of the landfill. By 2020, it's illegal to put any kind of compost in the landfill. So the idea, I think, is to get ahead of the curve now.
Mm-hmm.
But the district is asking, Paul, I think you received a letter from the district, didn't you, on this topic as select board?
Actually, it was an email.
Yeah,
Came
email
through,
It was an
yeah,
email.
actually.
talking about educating.
Okay.
Yeah,
The district is asking you to commit to doing that for this Thursday's meeting. We have a meeting on Thursday night to
right.
discuss this proposal. Judy and I talked about it over the weekend. We think that it's better to not commit at this time, but to state that we would be very open to this concept. We would not just do it on our own. We would look very, very carefully at this, and then we'd make our decision after the RFP comes back
Right.
in 2 more weeks.
How does that
Yeah.
affect the whole group then? If everybody's sitting around saying we can't make a decision right now, and they need a decision by Thursday,
No, they don't. I think they're open to having it, according to this, they're open to having it delayed somewhat. Now,
They're
when I
asking
say
for it.
somewhat, there's no
Yeah.
time frame.
They're asking for it, but this email didn't come out till last week.
Right.
And it just so happens that our select board meets within
Right.
that 1 week,
Yeah,
but
we're
not all
lucky.
select boards are gonna be meeting within that
Right.
time frame.
So we have some maneuvering room.
Good.
But I wanted to lay it out for you so that you had some time to think. And also, next meeting, the 24th, the RFPs are due for the recycling. And out of that, we should be getting all 3, I think. I don't know. Which again would be Casella, TAM, and Triple T. So it gives us a little bit of maneuvering room, but I think it's important that we know what we're doing here. And perhaps do that the next time, make the decision. I think we need to make a decision by the next meeting, don't
The
you
next
think?
district meeting would be in May.
Oh, would it be? Okay, so that would
I think
be
you'd have 2 more meetings, you'd have one. in
the
this month,
24th and
before
then
the
one
meeting
in, yeah, because you're after, I think, always the
Won't be
first
meeting.
meeting. I know. Yeah, this is his,
This will be my last meeting.
this
coming
is
up.
his
Yeah.
last meeting
yeah,
as
sure, we
representative.
protect. I have a
So,
question from the audience.
yes,
I have a question.
sure.
I understand the extra dumpster or the container, that would be collection from everybody. In other words, if I go to dump, I'd be putting those items in that designated container.
Right, all of these
My
items.
my question is,
Yeah.
will we, as people in town using it, be required to get a separate bag, an incur bag charge like we do with garbage now? Or will that just be a recyclable item that'll just go in the container?
No, I know you don't have to pay for the bags that are going into the compactor now, because this pickup is free of charge, well, free of
Well,
charge
if
for
I
you
wanna
guys.
throw garbage
Not
in
for our
the,
town.
in the container up here, I have to put it in a green or a yellow bag, and that's a charge to me.
Except
Yes.
that it says no plastic bags.
The advantage to you here
Okay.
is that you'll be able to get it out of your household trash and put it and get it for free.
I understand that, but there's no separate bag that's gonna be required at a charge.
Well, in fact, the complication is plastic bags are not.
Are
can't
not
go in there
allowed,
anyway.
so we have
So
to
whatever
figure-
container you take and dump,
All right,
it's up to you.
that's fine.
Is
I
that-
just wanted
is that
to
your
know.
question?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
yes.
That it doesn't have to come in a bag. You can just dump it out of the wheelbarrow if you
Yeah.
want.
Well,
The one thing you
Yeah.
can do is there are compostable bags out there. You could
Yes.
put your stuff in a compostable bag,
The leaf-
open the container and drop it in and not have to worry about it. Because it can be somewhat
messy.
challenging, not a very nice thing to open that container and pour the
Right.
thing in. So if you wanted to go to the expense of having a compostable bag, you could throw the compostable bag in.
Thank you.
Mhm. Any questions?
Just one little thing,
What's that?
frozen food containers are very often styrofoam,
Then it doesn't go in there.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, it has to go into trash, which would be, as he's talking about, the colored bags.
Right, and also it says wax cardboard, does that include things like milk containers?
Yes,
It does.
yeah. As a matter of fact, I think it even says
The
that,
milk juice cartridge.
It says, yeah, it says milk juice cartons.
yeah, yes. Which is something now that we can't recycle,
Right.
so, did you have a question on that, son? Okay,
I have sort of a hard question, I don't really wanna ask.
but do it
Concerning
anyway.
pet waste, like, who picks up like Jamaica State Park? Is that Triple T?
I don't know, do you know?
And then all these
It's one of
pet
the haulers.
owners that pick up after their pets, they can't bring that,
Well,
they have to bring it bagless.
You can bring kitty litters in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about dogs and all
But how they bring it, how they cart it from house
Yeah, it's
to
like-
container, is that what you're asking?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, when you pick it up in the yard, it ends up in a plastic bag,
Right,
and plastic bags are not allowed.
right.
This does not sound, this is gonna need some.
Yeah,
very strict treatment.
actually, I don't know if they've not thought about
I don't think
this.
anybody's ever taken dog waste.
Yeah, I know that
They
it
do
does
allow
say,
kitty litter, but I don't think they take
yeah,
dog waste.
pet waste, because it says no plastic.
Hopefully this will get washed out. Somebody will think about this.
Well,
There is some training that will go along with this.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
I'm just
right.
picturing that as a real
Right.
problem.
And you said it a minute ago, but just to be clear, because we had a conversation in the car, this is absolutely gonna be required.
Yes, as of July 1st,
Statewide.
statewide, yeah.
And how does this affect people who compost at home? It doesn't?
Oh, no, it doesn't. As a matter of fact, I would even, I'm a composter, I
So am
think you do it and many others. We're just going to continue to do it, but certainly a lot of these things that I can't compost can go into it now, which really should reduce our trash, the compactor stuff, in size. So we may be able to balance some of the cost out.
And also the cost to people who choose to do this won't have to buy as many plastic bags.
Yes, right. Very true.
So we have a learning curve.
Yes, yeah, it's a big learning curve because when next meeting, we'll be looking at the bids of the other and whether we're going to go single stream or dual stream, and so it's all kind of coming at once. So just
Just the overall,
work through it.
the overall position to the citizens of Jamaica is please be patient while we figure this out. Any further questions for Judy?
Well, I guess what I need to know is, do you want to postpone? And I think we probably ought to have a vote on that.
Postpone the decision regarding.
Postpone the decision.
Could I ask if you make, as part of the motion, whether or not you want to leave it open on to whether you want to participate with the district proposal or not?
If we postpone the vote, doesn't that pretty much say that?
Well, I think the district is looking to see how many towns are gonna say no. They're not interested as much as how many towns are gonna definitely say yes. They wanna know if there are towns that are gonna say no.
So we could make a motion perhaps saying that we are interested, but at this time not ready to commit.
Yeah,
That make it
Way
for
to word it, yeah.
okay, I so moved that.
Second.
Town of Jamaica is interested,
I know that's dirty cool,
but
I'm
is
sorry.
not prepared to commit at this time. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Have a second? Any further discussion?
Everybody seconded.
Everybody.
I didn't second.
I did the second. Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none? So moved. Passes.
Thank you very much. I have to tell you
Can I
that,
make a suggestion that we reverse the order of 8 and 9, since 9 is more relevant to what we just discussed?
Since you're the one who asked, I think we can probably do that. You are the one who asked to put these on the agenda, I'll allow you to make that change. So we're going to, the next item, well, come to Judy. Judy, you done?
yes, I am
Thank
done.
you very much. Thank you for keeping on top of this. This is changing.
Yeah, it is
Thank you very
changing
much.
hourly almost.
All right, so we're gonna make a change. We're going to make item 8-9 and make item 9-8.
Thank you too, Lou, for being here, for doing that.
And I don't believe you're not coming back. Okay, so the next item of business is the discussion inviting a speaker from Wyndham Solid Waste Management District to aid in implementing a possible recycling strategy. Dovetails nicely with what you're saying. I concur with Joel's position of moving it up.
Okay,
You're
so I went to a, now that I'm a commissioner, I went to the
Oh, yes, he's a commissioner now.
commission,
Wyndham.
Wyndham Regional.
Right.
And they had, you said his name before.
Bob Spencer.
Bob Spencer was speaking about recycling and the changes at Wyndham Solid Waste. And he said that he would come anywhere and discuss it with anyone, and I think it might be a good idea, especially after what you said, to have him come and speak to us. And he has many ideas about how to implement recycling law.
Has he been here before, or was that somebody else?
It's been a while since he's been here.
He's been here.
Yeah.
Kristen, who also works with him, maybe someone too,
Or either,
yeah.
to have someone from, so maybe I'll just move it, that we have someone from Wyndham Solid Waste come to speak to us about possible implementation of a recycling stream.
Any discussions?
Somebody has to second it first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have a motion on the table? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Now we can have discussions. Any further discussions on this topic? Now, we have had presentations in the past, but echoing what I just said about the changing
Mhm.
landscape every 20 minutes, probably having somebody with a more up-to-date would make sense.
Mhm.
All in favor of inviting?
I do have a
Oh,
discussion.
sure.
And so is
And that is that, we're actually having the RFPs coming in the next meeting, where we will be probably making a decision. So I don't know how that will fit in with him here and us making a decision. It's kind of one on top of the other. So I don't know what your thoughts are around that.
That was related to my question. What I was gonna recommend is that you open up the RFPs at the next meeting, and then schedule, like we similarly do for most
Open
RFPs,
them and decide.
schedule another meeting so you have a chance to review the proposals. And then at that meeting would be an appropriate meeting for perhaps Bob to come. Then he'll have
Which that are we talking about?
the meeting where you, not the meeting where you open the proposals,
But where
but the
we-
meeting where you decide.
Right,
So my point is that gives him an opportunity to look through the RFPs as well,
right,
and give him an opportunity to decide what he would recommend.
yeah.
So we're talking about probably,
Probably
The
the
ninth?
end of April or early May, I
well,
would
it
think.
looks to me like it'd be the meeting of the ninth.
Yeah.
We meet second and fourth, right? So the ninth would be the first meeting in May. I'm sorry, is it eighth? I'm looking at this one.
Well, we
Oh, yeah,
could,
eighth, sorry.
couldn't we set a special meeting for the discussion after we open them up? Is that a possibility?
I'd
Like
rather,
Thursday?
I like the idea of keeping it consistent so that the townspeople know when we're meeting and what we're doing.
Okay,
And I think we can probably do that.
They can come here.
They can, but I'm just thinking that I'd like to keep some consistency with the,
my question is, how long do we have? Do you have any idea how long we have before they need to know down in Wyndham Solid Waste whether we're a go or a no-go?
I think they would need to know by the May 11th meeting,
Okay,
but I'll know that more after we discuss it on Thursday.
okay,
So I can let you know at the last meeting in April when you open the bids. And then
okay.
at that point, you can make your decision on when
Okay,
to.
when the meeting would be.
That's there.
So can we leave that date open for the review of the
Well-
RFPs?
sure, we'll open the RFPs on the 24th, am I
Right.
reading that correctly? Yeah. Open on the 24th, our
Right,
next meeting would be the 8th, that gives us time to review them all, discuss them all
right.
ourselves
And we can have Bob
on the meeting of the
the
8th.
same day, right? If he's.
On the 8th.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we'll be able to review them in the interweek
right,
as a select board and then present all that information on the 8th, and he would be there for that.
I guess so,
Does that make sense?
yeah, okay,
Alexa, does that make sense, you guys?
okay.
All right, so we'll plan on, we'll open the bids on the, whatever I just said,
The 24th,
the 24th, and we will, on the 8th, present our decision and have a guest speaker, and will you line that guest speaker up?
Sure.
oh, I can do that, that's Bob Spencer, I work with him all the time.
Oh, fine,
Shall I do
great.
that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Check with them, make sure those dates work,
Yeah,
and then get back to me so we can put it on the
I will.
agendas.
okay.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Good point, Joel. Anything else on that one?
No, right?
Didn't we do that already?
No.
I don't think you need a vote to have him here.
Huh?
I don't think you need a vote.
I don't know.
No, you
Yeah, I think we can just invite him.
Okay.
I'll vote if you want to vote, what the heck. Get spare votes.
I have to
We're all
think
in
about
agreement.
that vote.
If it's the consensus of the board.
Yeah, I
So
think it's,
consensus.
all right. So you also brought in, you're on number 9, which is the discussion about having a speaker for the open meeting law.
We had odd comments here and there about how we don't always know the exact rules of the open meeting law. So I thought it'd be a good idea to have somebody, perhaps from Vermont cities and towns, come and make a presentation so that we can understand all the ramifications of it.
If I remember correctly, and you guys can correct me, it seems to me the VLCT presentation of a meeting law is like 3 hours.
I'm not sure how long it is.
They do this presentation around the state, I believe, don't quote me on that, but I think it's like a full production.
Isn't that one of the workshop
It could be one of
ones?
the
I think,
workshops.
Yeah.
Maybe it was
Yeah.
that, I think it
Right.
was that.
Yeah.
I mean, the,
is the workshop over
Not
that's
sure.
coming in on our emails?
I haven't
Has
seen
that
it,
taken place?
I haven't seen anything on it for a while.
Oh, okay.
But that, a call to VLCT could turn up, when they have their next one scheduled. That doesn't mean we couldn't have a speaker coming in to answer specific questions, but we ought to have specific questions to ask as opposed to having them come in on a general briefing.
All right,
That-
either
that's
way.
kind of-
Okay, but I think it would be a good idea to have the clarified. I know it would for me.
There's a lot, have you seen the literature that they publish on that
I've
stuff?
seen some of it.
Yeah, it's kind of, pretty involved. So what's the mood of the board here?
have somebody, if you wanna get in touch with, you'll have to get in touch with VLCT to see who would come here and to speak.
Let's see if we can get a time.
Right.
Yeah. Given all the other craziness going on, it may be closer to the end of May before we can get
Or even
anything.
June.
Have you talked to anybody at the LCT about this?
Not yet.
Not yet? Do you want to?
I will.
Okay. If you would do that, then.
Sure.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, let us know and check on their timeframe. They may have something already in the pipeline that we don't know about.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. The next item on the agenda for tonight is the number 10, the discussion of the possibility of a fund for emergency aid for elderly and poor, as mentioned at the March town meeting. Joel, you asked to put it on the agenda, I'll let you start.
Yeah, well, there was an issue with surplus, and there was discussion of using some of that surplus. We didn't really get into very much detail, and there have to be various ways of implementing this, so that, I don't think that we can pull a person out of poverty, but if somebody's on the edge of something for one mortgage payment or an electrical bill, there could be some kind of fund with some kind of qualifications that would help that person to not create another homeless situation.
Okay, let me ask you to clarify your question. We brought that as like 38,000, as I recall. That's like a one-time windfall predicated on the treasurers chasing down a lot of.
Well, I
That kind of
don't
system.
think we can just give away $38,000 and then have to figure it out again. I think,
Oh, no, I agree that part. My point is, are we talking about what to do with the money, or are we talking about creating a new bureaucracy to dispense
well,
funds?
maybe we already have a bureaucracy that could do it.
Can you identify that one for me?
Not offhand, but there are agencies, there are organizations locally, like the food pantry, and there,
Yeah. In fact, we've got a list of them. We give them $20,000 a year already to those agencies at this point. And they're in a much better position to vet the individual and families that are involved in that. So that's something we're already doing. Yeah.
Just a point of order. This comes from other business at the town meeting. Ben Williams asked that the select board look further into creating an assistance fund for the poor and elderly, as mentioned in Article 4.
Right.
That's how this
right,
came
that's how
to
this
be.
came to be. Right.
This was like, it was at the town meeting.
Right. And we're responding to that request at the town meeting. And so the question that I want to clarify, I'm talking about something that's going to be an ongoing program
Yes,
built from a one-time pocket of money.
no. That one-time pocket of money or some other pocket of money or some other agency could provide a beginning to a program that the town is aware of, that's made public to the people of the town who may need it. And that has a mechanism for determining eligibility, that could help, because I think that it's important for town government to help people who are in need, not only just conduct business.
I'm getting confused.
I propose this as the beginning of a conversation.
Okay, all right. Well, and my thing, see, we've got agencies that are doing the work that you're asking us to do, that are far better positioned to do that, as far as the managing of the
Yeah,
money.
but I think Joel just wants to open the door to the conversation.
Sure, I have no problem with
At
that.
least making people aware of those agencies and just, I talked to our treasurer, and I don't know if it's still in effect in Townsend, Wardsboro, but, you know, they have a revolving loan fund, but it's a committee of citizens that are aware of all those avenues of, you know.
Where does that money
And
come
the
from?
money came from the
I don't know.
state. It came from the state.
Yeah, there's grants available, but that's vague, but that's
So this is a citizens entity that gets
There.
money from the state.
just
In
there. I don't
Wardsboro.
know what happens anywhere else, but
Does that sound like what you're looking for?
maybe somebody else does.
Yeah, I think my point was, when I brought that up, was to create a, even if it's a loan, so people would not lose their property to foreclosure because they can't pay the taxes. I don't recommend that we put that out there for everybody, but residents, you know, if somebody's got a second home or a third home up here and they can't pay the taxes, that's tough. But there's some longtime residents in town who are struggling. And if they get hit with that penalty this year and they can't pay it, the next year to get hit with another penalty, they can't pay it. In 3 years, you see their name in the paper, their house is up for tax sale. And that shouldn't happen. It doesn't have to be a large amount of money. At one time, I believe that the penalty, the late pay penalty, went to the tax collector as part of their pay. Now, maybe we could earmark those late payments, put it into a fund, and use it as a revolving loan type thing. I'm not saying give it away, but, you know, if it happens to take 5 years to pay it back, it takes 5 years to pay it back. As long as they make some effort.
Well, I think, are you aware that the way Terry's been doing this is anybody who will reach out to her and set up a payment schedule? She's been pretty flexible with that, hasn't she?
Yes,
She has some guidelines that she has to go by,
I think
but she has a lot of flex, she can decide whether, you know, she has a lot of leeway
Yeah.
in collecting.
She does
this.
work with people.
But if they don't contact her, she has to follow guidelines that
Maybe,
are in this.
maybe they don't know they can contact her.
That's the thing, I think.
I believe when she sends out those
She
letters
sends out the notices
in
and she does
multicolored
say,
pieces of paper.
People who are barraged with losing a job and having children that they can't feed, they're not gonna see the multicolored paper.
Well,
There have to be
the point of
ways
it,
to reach
to
them.
notice it. It's a letter to them saying contact,
Yeah, I understand.
treasurer,
I understand.
and if that is ignored over a number of years,
Well, people who are gonna be delinquent because they want to be delinquent are not the people we're talking about.
exactly. Differentiating may be difficult for us
Maybe.
unless we have an agency who is going to do the social research to find out who's delinquent, who's annoying.
Paul, Elaine had it.
Elaine.
I think that we're sort of, I'm getting, there are too many things coming out here. Number one, I'd like to point out that some of the $20,000 or whatever it is that you're giving out right now to the various organizations is not necessary. I mean, I'm going to back up. I'm going to use a specific example, Neighborhood Connections, okay? That helps them to do the work that they do. They do not give money to people. What they do is they source funds from other organizations, and by recommendation will help people sometimes really cod together the money that they need for specific, you know, for whatever it is the problem is that they've gone in and that they've identified. The purpose of this proposal was to create within the town of Jamaica, just Jamaica, a dedicated fund of money that would be available on a loan basis, so it would have to be paid back. And for relatively small loans, okay? And you can set up whatever criteria you want, you know? And then what you would do is contact someone like Neighborhood Connections and say, we have this pot of money that we would like to be able to offer, you know, as loans. It is only available to residents of Jamaica. And you can set a limit on what's borrowed. You know, those things can all be worked out and identified.
So I guess the question on that paragraph,
Yes.
who would work out and identify those issues? Or the criteria?
I think that that's something that you as a board or whomever you designate to monitor and to work with this program would do.
See, I would look at that as a.
But the point is that you're using people like Senior Solutions or Neighborhood Connections. SEFCA is another good example, as a referral agency.
I would go back to the issue, and this is a conversation starter. Somebody has to make the decision, okay? This is a political body.
No. What decision?
Who gets the money?
Yeah.
Who gets the referral?
Well, you set up criteria for judging people's needs.
You have a tax collector that has all this information in front of you all the time. She knows who's not paying her taxes.
You know, that could be actually one of the criteria if you were, that people have to be, in order to be eligible to use this fund, for example, your taxes have to be paid.
But you're talking about people who can't pay their taxes.
No. That was, excuse me, that was what Ben said. That's not the way I
I
would
thought
go
you were in
with this.
support of Ben's position.
No, Ben and I have not talked about this,
Oh, I thought since
okay?
you were sitting those seats there that you were colluding. in
Right,
some fashion.
no.
Perhaps mental mind failed or something.
But the thing is, Ben and I are looking, I think, there is a problem and a need within the community. And Ben and I are both recognizing that need.
But separate.
We need a better outreach.
We need an outreach.
When 66% of the school children have to have their meals in the school because they don't have food at home.
Yeah, but that's not the municipality's fault.
No,
It's not their- no, we're not talking about
this is not
municipalities.
fault.
And I don't think that the treasurer should inherit extra duties to implement this thing. I mean, I know we're early on in the discussion, but I know that you're saying, but it sounds like that's where it's heading.
And to dovetail that piece, I can picture, having seen some of the phone calls, correct, heard some of the phone calls. She gets enough heat about taxes and those kinds of things. I don't think she needs to be in a position of deciding who gets referred where based on her.
Well, then it
numbers.
doesn't have to be her, it has to be something that we decide in discussion who would do it. So
How
we
does
don't have the
one
answer to who would do it,
How
but
does
we
town
have the answer to the need.
It's the town treasurer.
I'm sorry?
No, I was answering them.
Go.
I don't think that really we as a board should be decision makers. I think that we need to stay out of it, that there are these organizations that are trained to do this kind of thing. And what I'm hearing, and tell me if I'm wrong, is to somehow set up a pot of money to say this money is available and tell SEFCA and tell Senior Solutions and so forth that this money, and when you have somebody coming to you, SEFCA, Senior Solutions, there is some money that you can refer or set up to get some money and leave these 5 people out of that decision making.
That is exactly what I was getting at.
Okay.
But it'll be taxpayer money.
It's taxpayers' money, and we ultimately decide what goes into that pot, so we can't be completely
Well,
divorced.
what we would
But you
do,
don't have to select
we would
the
have to ask the taxpayers if we could set up that pot.
It's a referendum.
So then we're
that-
talking about,
Yes,
at the next town meeting, asking specifically for a pot
X
of money.
number of dollars,
And
whatever.
from whence that cometh. This year, we happen to have a little extra, because Terry did the work to pull in the extra taxes.
Right,
So we're gonna then take from one of the other programs to create a pot of money.
well, I don't.
That will then be administered by another agency and sent back to us.
It
Or the
would
big
be, the money would be in our hands, but the fact is it would be available for
The money-
these different organizations to tap into.
The money wouldn't have to be in our hands, just allocating the
Yeah,
money to a
right.
fund. Once the money is allocated to
Right,
a fund,
right,
someone in the food pantry could hear somebody say they have this problem and say, well, we can refer you to this group.
Mhm.
And then the group would decide how to dispense the money.
We should not be into that
SEFCA.
business.
Some group, but that we have a mechanism for putting people in contact with money that we have allocated and money that has come from other funds and grants, so that we can help some people who are falling into trouble. So we don't have to be, well, the secretary or the treasurer don't have to be the ones who are deciding who gets the money. But we should certainly be aware that there's money available and people who need it and be able to put them together.
All right, so to consolidate on something that we can actually maybe vote on, what we're saying is, we are interested in asking the citizens of Jamaica to put money into a fund specifically to be tapped into by non-Jamaican agencies for the purpose of helping
It wouldn't
Jamaican
be worded
citizens.
that way, I don't think.
That's not the way we work in Poland.
No, that's not the way you word it. I'm trying to make sense out of this, of a consensus. How are you going to, who's going to decide who gets the
Well, there
money?
have to be a mechanism in place, and then it would have to be voted on at the next town meeting.
Or a warrant meeting,
And
if we think it's important enough.
it doesn't have to cost the town anything. Because if you put a loan out there.
But that's different than your partner in crime right there saying, as far as loans.
Hang on a minute.
Wait
Okay.
a second,
They're not
I
partners
said,
in
I said
crime.
alone.
Yeah, she did say.
So you're talking about a loan agency.
I'm talking
Let's
about
not
doing,
make this more
Wait a minute, everybody's
complicated tonight.
interrupting each other. Why don't you let them finish?
Let's not make it this more complicated tonight than it has to be. We're opening a conversation and we're gonna explore ways to implement a help program.
A help program.
We don't have to have all the answers today, we just have to begin asking the
Is
questions.
it possible that Ben or Elaine may write up a proposal of how it could work? Would you be willing to do that? And then we can look at something, because so then we have it written in words so that we're not kind of fudging around, did she say this, did he say that, but have it in paper. Is that
if we're
something-
doing a loan, we're gonna have to have contracts. You can't just
Right.
give out money. If it's a loan, you have to have a contract with that person
Yes.
and,
Exactly.
Exactly.
and
And
stuff
if-
like that.
if
I
we can-
mean, and then if they don't pay it back, you're chasing that again.
No,
It's,
but,
Well, we're
It's-
projecting
the-
about
So
that.
you
The
think-
key to this is keeping it small.
yeah.
This is for people who
It's-
literally,
My hot water heater just exploded. I don't have the money for a hot water heater, you know? I mean, for you and I, that's not an issue. For some people, that is disastrous. That's
Okay,
disastrous.
so I'm hearing what you're saying, I'm hearing what Joel's saying, and I'm gonna go back to what Joel just said. What we're doing tonight isn't deciding this. What we're doing tonight is starting the conversation.
Perhaps,
yeah, we
perhaps
could be here
having,
till midnight and
perhaps,
just,
perhaps having a committee of volunteers, a small committee of volunteers, put together a proposal.
Right, that's basically
Talk
what I
about
was
it.
saying.
Right.
That's what Julie's saying.
I'd be glad to help on that
And then
committee.
present it to us.
And then present it.
Not a problem. I think that's a great idea. I think that is a discussion that we deserved having. It was brought up in town meeting. Have no problem with that at all.
and the money will come from the taxpayers, so we need to ask the taxpayers.
Yeah.
Do
Exactly.
they want
Eventually-
to approve this loan program?
After,
I didn't want to last time. The vote was
It was
28
voted
yes,
down.
44 no, but it wasn't presented.
They
in
didn't
any
want
sort
to,
of-
they didn't want to take the $38,000.
Or maybe they didn't want to do it. We don't know what people would
Well, we
think,
have to
really.
give people the information so they can decide.
that makes sense. And I think that for the limited purposes of tonight, conversation has been started. you're willing to,
Yes, I am.
gather the resources
Yes, I am.
and present to the, and what time frame? May, June? When do you wanna?
Let's say end of May.
Let's not say the end of May because we got this other battle going on.
Let's say June.
Okay, let's say June. You wanna say the end of June?
The end of June.
Yes, and if you need a delay, feel free to call. But I think the conversation has started, thank you for bringing that up. Understand that we need to think about this from a lot of different directions, not the least of which, what a lawyer's gonna cost to set up a loaning thing, but that's later. I'm sure you'll think of that as you proceed.
I'm sure I will.
Very good. Any other discussions on this topic, sir?
No. Do we need a motion to begin this procedure, or just leave it to me?
So what, leave it to you? Do we need a motion for
No,
this?
you don't need a
I
motion,
think we
just
can leave it to you.
bring it back.
Yeah,
If we're gonna
every
decide
month.
something, then we'll need a motion.
Yeah, we'll get the group together, decide what you want to do, and we can bring it. I saw a hand.
Yeah, question.
Yes.
You mentioned there's a one-time excess.
This year we had one.
All right, has it happened in the past as well?
No, this,
Periodically?
this particular excess came from Terry putting a lot of effort into chasing down overdue taxes.
I mean, over the years, we've had surpluses, and it has to be voted on at town meeting what the select
So
board
it's
is
not,
gonna do.
this is not an aberrant occurrence, it's happened before.
It's happened before.
Well, you can set up the fund, if available, out of an excess.
Over the
When
years.
it's- when
And it
term
depends
is-
on, it's based on the taxpayers, do they wanna do this? You know, I wanna give a loan to somebody, I don't know. You
Does the
know, I
town-
mean, this is,
Does the town have an ombudsman to act as an intermediary between residents and the board and the town?
We would like to believe that we don't need an intermediary between you guys and us. We just
Given
got
it
this
might
little
be
bit of
someone
gap
who
here.
can act
Yeah, no, we don't have that.
something like this.
We have, to the extent that there was a position at one time called the Town Services Officer, who people would approach, and then there was some money available through the Salvation Army, which he or she would disperse based on the criteria that the Salvation Army had. Or that individual would refer to the other agencies that are available. So there was that position. That position was absolved by the state of Vermont last year.
and we used to have overseer of the poor. many
We have
years ago.
overseer of the poor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that was, people knew who needed money
right.
for food,
Yeah.
clothing, whatever, and they were taken care of that way. And they weren't embarrassed, because a lot of people are very proud.
Yes,
Uh,
that's why I think we.
Most of
need
them
to
won't
keep
ask
out
for
of it.
anything. The people who aren't proud, they'll ask, and
We
they'll
only
take.
need the structure.
So we need, as you put this together, gathering, you know what Munsey's fund,
Right.
and other funds that are already available that aren't reflected on here.
Could
So-
you say what the Muzzy Fund is for?
The Muzzy
You know?
Fund is for children
And women?
and women under the age of, women under the age of 21 that have children that need food or clothing. And that was voted on, and I believe, did Terry give you a copy
I've
of
got
that?
that, yeah, someplace.
I didn't know
in the
there was an
minutes.
age.
This was, it's,
Town meeting minutes.
There's $5,000.
1954, and then again in 1950, and then again in 1954. And this was a gift based from Muncie, and it was put into a fund, and has been drawing interest since the invention of dirt here in 1950s. So it's up to around, what did we say, 20,000?
17,000.
Seven.
And it has been used in the past.
Yeah. So,
So it's just one of those things.
yeah, it's not like we're sitting around completely cold to the realities of people who, good people have bad things happen to them. But my concern from the select board position is not to get us involved with
No,
the potential legal battles of who's fit for it and who's not.
I don't think anybody has suggested that we.
we've,
Excellent, good.
we're good on that.
Oh, question.
How is the Muzzy Fund administered? If someone wants, if a young woman wants money from that, who makes the decision whether they get it or not?
They will come to the town office and talk to the
This
treasurer.
video.
And
So
then
that's
it'll come to
administered
the,
by the town?
and then it'll come presented to the select board, and it would be administered by the town would, the select board would tell the treasurer to give that person money for food, clothing.
Okay.
When that
So
was,
you're already serving that role for one fund?
Right.
but
Okay.
that may have been the wishes of the person who granted that to be distributed by,
Alan, Mr. Muzzy,
Um,
Mr. Allen,
yeah,
I'm
but
sorry.
he wanted it distributed.
The actual phrase in here says, "The expenditure of the income shall be under the supervision and direction of the trustees of this fund." Not exactly sure the definition of the trustees.
And then the next one
The
was.
next one
turned over to the
says, in
select board.
1954, the expenditure of this income shall be under the supervision and direction of the then Board of Selectmen of and said town as trustees of the fund. So it makes the Board of Select persons, as of 54, the trustees of that fund. In their will, in her will, and that was
Right.
how they decided.
So the select board serves as the trustees of the fund. Select board makes the decision who
That's right.
gets money from the fund.
Yes.
Right.
From an outside fund.
Right, these are not taxpayers' dollars.
Bequeathed to the town of Jamaica.
Yeah, do understand, this is not taxpayers' money, this is strictly a
It's a grant.
grant. No, it's not even a grant, it's a
Yeah.
bequeathment or whatever.
It was,
What's the noun?
Love to.
Bequest, thank you. Okay, so, good point. Any further discussion on this topic? It is up, we're gonna start talking about it. Those of you who are watching at home, feel free to give us send emails in. Joel will be more than happy to put that information together with his plans, his gatherings. Okay, thank you very much, good, thank you. Number 11. I had a letter from the Green Lantern Group. This goes back to the discussion we've had about buying into electricity. There's, not buying into electricity, buying into the solar projects. Where's my solar project? At any rate, start moving things out of order and things get out of order. Anyhow, the Green Lantern Fund is an agency that has in place, is anyone representing the Green Lantern Fund here? Oh, thank you. Your
May I have
name?
your name, please?
Ralph Mima, M-E-I-M-A.
It's a good thing you came, because somewhere I got it in order someplace. It's got to do, as I understand, you have extra capacity within your program, is that correct?
Right.
Perhaps you could tell everybody, because I'm making a lousy job of this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting me on the agenda tonight on such short notice too, because I think I just found out today. I live in Brattleboro. I cover the southern counties for Green Lantern, and we're a renewable energy developer based up in Waterbury. We are, up to this point, 100% Vermont owned, 100% Vermont focused, but around the state we've done about, at this point, about 25 megawatts of solar projects in 60 different projects all over the place. And we did a project that went online about a year ago in Springfield, in the North Springfield Industrial Park. We call it 490 Fairbanks Road, because that's where it is. And as sometimes happens with these net metered solar arrays, the primary off-taker, in other words, the primary user of discounted net metering credits for that array, is the town of Springfield. But from the time when the decision was made to build the array and all the calculations and so forth were done, and I went through all the electric bills in Springfield, to a month or two ago, it turned out that for the meters that Springfield had assigned to that array, they just weren't using as much electricity as they used to in the past. A couple of things had been curtailed, they'd invested in some efficiency, and so the overall use of electricity against which net metering credits were being applied had shrunk. So what it suddenly meant, and this is a new kind of thing, because the whole net metering industry in solar is still pretty new. I mean, it's only been sort of out and in use on this scale around the state for 3-4 years. And so what it basically meant was that there are a certain number of net metering credits being produced by this array literally every day that are more than more than the town of Springfield needs. And there's no reason for them to pay for discounted credits that they can't use against their bill. So we have a little bit of extra capacity on that array. And I've just been going around contacting towns and schools and so forth to see if anybody would be interested in jumping in. And the advantage here is that these net metering credits are from an array that was commissioned before the first of the year. So they're more attractive than the credits that are coming from arrays that are currently being built. The last thing I just wanted to mention was the reason I contacted Jamaica was, you were talking about Bob Spencer at Wyndham Solid Waste earlier. Well, I contacted Bob to find out who in the solid waste district had not gone ahead and signed up for credits from the new big 5 megawatt array that's being built down there. And I may have got it wrong, but on the list that he sent me, the town of Jamaica and also the elementary school were not on the list. So it looked to me like even though you're members of WSWMD, you had opted not to sign up for net metering credits from that array. So I figured I'd give you a call and see if you were interested.
Speaking to the school, I believe the school's gonna buy into a program at Newfane, at the New Brook School.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that the plan?
That's my understanding, because I was talking about that today. So, that's a good question. Board?
Where are we at with
You elected not to go with the district proposal,
Yeah.
Perry?
period. You didn't think that the commitment, the 20-year commitment was worth the savings that you were gonna get?
And a couple other things.
Yeah. There was not a lot, and when we started comparing numbers, there wasn't a lot of savings for a little town, apparently.
I did some calculations based on some real quick numbers. I believe it was Pam,
Pam's
Yes.
church,
the
town clerk.
town clerk, yeah. She told me that you're billing at about $1,000 a month for electric costs, so $12,000 a year. And the numbers are small, but according to my calculation, using the numbers that apply to this array, not the one at Wyndham Solid Waste, but the one that we have available, you'd save, the town would save about $1,350 per year, and that I think that's right. I have to go back and I could do the calculation again very quickly, but it's something in that ballpark. And it's not a whole lot of money, but at the same time, it's there. It's just sort of a sudden opportunity, and we could. Oh, what we said we would do is offer to this new sort of add-on off-taker the same net metering credit discount that Springfield enjoys, which is 12.5%. So you're basically buying $1 worth of net metering credits for 87.5 cents. That's what that would amount to. So it's not a lot of money, but it's still
It's money.
money.
So this 1350 computation is your 12% of our estimated yearly.
Yeah, let me just do this very, very quickly, because I can tell you the numbers as I literally key them in here. So if we take, what we do is we take 12,000, which is the annual electricity budget for however many meters you have. Yeah. The first thing we do is we just take 10% off the top, because there will be some efficiency improvements in the future. We just need to build in a little bit of a buffer so that you don't end up with credits you can't use. So we say 90% of that is $10,800. And then if you say 12.5% of that is $1,350.
Okay.
So that would be the savings on your electric bill per year.
Per year.
And there's almost nothing to do. We would simply add your meters or your account information and your meters to the existing group, and you'd start getting the credits, within a month's billing cycle.
What's your time frame to get an answer?
Well, it's first come, first serve. The thing that our business is based on investors who put up the money to build these arrays that then serve, in our case, Grace Cottage Hospital and Mount Snow and Brattleboro Memorial Hospital and so forth. And so they're sort of leaning on us to make sure that no credits are going to waste for that array. And I've put the word out, and I'm not sure who's going to bite sooner. Yeah.
Is it a contract, yearly or 20
Yeah.
years or?
It's a solar services agreement. It's a contract that would be, I think in this case, a 20-year term. And by the way, we actually could accommodate an electric user or users up to, I think, or between $30,000 and $35,000 in total annual electric costs. So this piece that would, potentially go to or to Jamaica would be a part of a couple of other slices that we would be looking to add.
And there's no cost to accept the credits to begin with, or?
None whatsoever.
Are we then tasked, if we find an excess, finding another off-taker later?
No, we deal with all that, just like we're doing right now. And it's funny too, because if you read the contract, you really get down in it. It looks like it's Springfield's responsibility.
Oh.
But the thing is, I'm sitting here because Springfield's not in the business. They can't go out and find somebody. I mean, it's a lot easier for us to just fix the problem.
Is there any way this could have a negative value?
No, nothing negative could happen. The only thing that could happen really is if something catastrophic happened to the array, you just go back to paying the electric bill you had before. So that's the only.
Is there any liability on the part of users if there's damage?
No. Because the array is actually owned by an LLC that we set up that's in turn owned by our investors. And so the off-takers simply have service contracts. There's no liability, there's no capital risk or anything like that.
Thoughts?
I think it's a savings enough worth looking into.
I'm the guy who's in charge of being negative today. The only glitch to this is the $1,000. We have just made a major savings improvement, hopefully, by changing lighting in this building. We are constructing a new garage that major savings. We found out that there was no insulation in that building at all.
Oh, really?
I mean, literally, it was paper, no insulation. So we don't know right now exactly what this is really going to be. That's why I asked about the excess, because in fact, that $1,000 a month is going to drop. We just don't know how much.
Oh, okay.
And so we're sort of in a kind of a funny position right now, because we're just kind of guessing. And guessing has not been our great strength, as you can probably imagine.
Can we get out of this contract, or do we have to stay with it?
Well, it's a 20-year contract, so
contract.
we would hope that you wouldn't try to get out.
Okay, but there would be a cost if we had to get out of it, for some reason or other.
Why would we want to get out of it if we're
I was just a question.
It's just
only using the $20 worth a year, or?
Well, that's the other thing too. If you compute this $1,350, which is a reasonable number, and because of the cost savings that we've already implemented, produce a significant drop, then we also would not be able to use the remaining credits.
You'd end up in the same situation as Springfield.
Exactly. And then you'd be talking to somebody else about Jamaica's credits.
Yeah, we don't know if we're going to save 50%.
We don't
We
know.
don't
That
know.
would be an awful lot of savings from light bulbs.
We
And we wouldn't be
probably
complaining.
won't save.
The issue though is we
50%,
just don't know, so. I like the idea of thinking about this, I really do like to.
Could we have other services like yours in the future add to this? So you're saving us $1,300 a year. Suppose somebody else comes along and says, we can save you $2,000 a year more. Are we restricted in any way?
Well, a couple of things. One is that, just to go back to this issue of what if the garage saves so much money with the lighting and maybe, I don't know, you use heat pumps or something like that. One thing we could do right from the start is increase the buffer. In other words, rather than taking 90% of your electric use, take 80% of it. And that just creates more of a buffer there before you bump up against the sort of usable credits limit. But the other thing is going back to what was raised earlier, the solar services agreement is a 20-year contract. And the reason that they're that long is because the arrays themselves have that kind of lifetime. And so the investors, whether they're investing debt or equity, get in for that period of time as well. So we just like to have a balance between the sources of financing and need to pay interest and all that kind of thing, the lifetime of the array itself, and the people who've signed up to buy discounted credits. So it's a 20-year contract. And if a better deal came along, we would hope you would stick with our contract, just
No,
because.
I didn't ask you to replace your contract. What I said was, if we got another offer or more, to add on more credits.
Oh, if you
Are
have
we
more,
limited in
more
any
electric
way
use?
by? Yeah.
I see.
Are we limited in any way by this contract from signing an additional contract?
No, because if you have other meters, for example, or if you go into the circuits of a facility and you split 1 meter into 2 meters, then you can add that additional electric use to another different array. This one, the one we're talking about, would probably be full. There literally would be no more room for another off-taker. But, I mean, we're in the business of developing these all over the
So
state.
what I'm asking basically is, do we have any limits, or is this just a benefit? There's no limits, no risk, just a benefit. And if the benefit is $1,300 a year or $200 a year, it's still just a benefit.
The only limit is that this particular opportunity is based on pre-2017 net metering credit values. So it's more attractive than anything that is currently being built or will be built in the future. Because what the state has been doing is gradually ratcheting down the value of net metering credits, which are a kind of subsidy. And so that's the only limitation, in the future. But if you do come up with new demand in the future, let's say, for example, you, convert town vehicles to electric, or you start using heat pumps instead of, propane or oil heat or something like that. You're going to have more electric use in the future. I think there are lots of us in the industry, but we'd be happy to talk with you about other arrays at that point. So there's no limit. It's really just there should be benefits
I have
in the future too.
this is probably a little odd, but the only reason I understand anything what you just said is sitting immediately to your left.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's beaten this sort of drum for the last, I don't know how long. And some of it actually sunk into my head, so I understand what you're talking about. I would like your thought.
Well, I'd like to see the contract, is what I would want to do. For example, a lot of these things are based on the solar adder. Solar adder's only there for 10 years. Does this change? Does the 12.5% change at the end of 12 years, or is it 12.5% for the lifetime of the 20-year agreement? That would be my first question.
Do you know?
Yeah, in this particular case, it's true. The state mandates that the solar adder be applied for 10 years. And after that point, the value of the net metering credit drops to whatever the blended retail rate of electricity is in the state. The 12.5% net metering credit share would continue to apply after the 10 years. It would apply as long as the solar services contract was in force.
So it's a fixed 12.5% for the price for the value.
So there's always going to be a discount.
I think that we ought to consider it, take a look at it. Do you need a motion to pursue this, or can we just say, let's talk? We're not gonna spend any money tonight, so we don't need a motion to do so, but I would like to hear more about this.
It might be
You see the
interesting to see the
contract? You see the
contract.
contract?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you can do that, and perhaps we could set up a time for us to get together.
Sure. Yeah, I can send you the contract.
Do you have a card?
Yeah.
Yes. So let's make sure we have that information. Because I sort of like to, I remember the difficulties we had with the other one, and I want to make sure I'm not doing something that, based on my lack of understanding what was going on. Any other questions? Sir?
I
Any
just,
questions?
what goes in my head, and this is not probably a good thing, is, do I have a deal for you? And so my suspicion of it being all good is just buzzing in my
We have a
head,
lawyer.
so. Huh?
We have a lawyer.
I know, but still, I think we are the ones that make the decision, not the lawyer.
Can I ask who your lawyer is?
We have several.
Okay.
We use different ones.
All for that.
The lawyer you used for the District 1 was Jerry Tarrant, Paul Hillis's partner.
Was that the lawyer for the district or lawyer for us?
It's the lawyer for us. You
Okay.
used Jerry Tarrant.
That's, yeah. So he's pretty familiar with not only the market, but also our interactions in the past.
Well, that's something we can discuss
Yeah, I think
After we
it's a
look
good
at the
Contract and
take a look at that. So
Yeah.
I think the mood of the board is that we are certainly interested in hearing more. Thank you very much for that presentation. Thank you, because it's only because of you that I understood half of what he said. Because Lord knows when you were talking about it, it went all over my head. So we're getting smarter. You may have just lucked into finding us partially smart.
Not for long.
Not for very long.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming in,
Thank
and
you.
we will be in touch.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, we'll do that. The next item on the agenda was an addition. This is the Community Arts Council. Got a letter from Tom Hubbard,
Yep.
who was asking specifically about putting a Wi-Fi system in the town hall.
Sir?
Here's what.
The internet connection in the
What did I
town,
say?
cable, Wi-Fi. But the same thing, we'll get the Wi-Fi in there.
You're up, sir.
Okay, so basically, we have a few of our board members here, David May, Sharon Curlin is here, and Vita Bassett's here from the planning committee, who also supports our proposition. We reached out to Southern Vermont Cable and the owner of that, Ernie Scaliaba, and basically have negotiated a municipal rate for the town hall of $29.99 for a 20 megabit connection. At the same time, he's said he would waive any installation and equipment charges if we were to do that. So the town would need to approve an expenditure of $360 for the internet service, and then there's about another $90 in fees per year, which I don't think we're exempted from. They're not taxes, they're fees. So it'd be about $460 per year. Basically what they would do, we're hoping to get this installed before the May 6th craft fair that we're having. But basically, we feel it would be an advantage to the town to have internet in the town hall, not only for events such as that, where people could do e-commerce, but also when we have concerts there, people would do multimedia, video and audio, and stream that off the internet. As well as a town meeting, we could potentially, give live updates or something like that, tweet from the town meeting or something like that. So we're hoping you guys would be willing to allocate the funds to do this. We think it'd be a great benefit for the community moving forward.
Discussion, questions?
And we have our Wi-Fi through here, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Town hall does belong to us. They do have things that go on there.
Yeah.
And I know people like, say, the craft fair is coming up, and vendors usually have credit cards, yeah.
Yeah,
listed credit cards,
I think too, for like
stuff
wedding,
like that.
I know we run it out for weddings and other events, people want to have internet.
I
People wanna
think we
keep-
have to, at first I was a little skeptical when I thought, you know what, we have to keep up with the new
What?
age.
Keep up?
We have to keep up, right, we have to,
Dragging her into the 21st century, kicking and
it's the
screaming all
phone
the
that
way.
drives me crazy, that's the glue to the hands.
Only question,
I did talk with Ernie too and say, so obviously in an historical building, how do we run the cable in? Cable runs along Route 30 here, but how do we get that into the building? And he said they work with other historical buildings. They're not gonna be,
Okay, I
it's not
was
gonna be an
gonna say that was
eyesore.
a question
We're just
I
gonna
had.
throw it somewhere. So I've had that conversation. I would like to have that conversation, have someone there when he's there installing it to make sure that they're not just drilling through the side of a wall or
Sure.
something
Right.
like that, and they're doing it tastefully.
One of my concerns, and I was going to bring this up at the next meeting, is the insurance issue. So I guess I need to bring it up now, because it would be another expenditure
is insurance for this?
for their group of the Arts Council. As it is now, they are paying for every time they have an event there, $107 for the $1 million insurance to cover. That has certainly been recommended by VLCT to have that. I did not know that they were asking for more money too, and I'm not sure whether the town can really afford both things.
Well,
Because
that-
ours would run, theirs for the insurance would run about $1,000+ for a year's insurance, or they would become a member come back into the fold of the town, like the library and the historical society, get under our umbrella of insurance. They were there at one time, but they are not there.
I hear this as basically a request for the building fund for the town as opposed to for the arts council.
I think the difference is, this is a benefit to the whole town. I mean, other people would use it besides the arts council.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have, like I said, town meeting or other
Yeah,
events,
the building.
weddings and whatnot there, so, I mean, I think it's more of something for the town rather than specifically for us. Of course, we'll use it, and we have a number of events there throughout the summer.
And we do get
So-
rental money that
Sure.
would probably offset.
It's an incredible upgrade to the building
Right.
for not that, I mean, as far as upgrades go and getting with it, with the times, I mean, we just presented the reasons to, you know, positive reasons to have it, and
So I think what you're
I
saying.
don't know where it ties in with the insurance, what they
The
didn't
insurance would mean that, that we would take the Arts Council back under the town's insurance policy.
Sure, but I don't think that's your
That's
answer to this
not- I think
particular
that's-
issue right now.
But,
Or
okay,
you want to consider that
except
another?
it's gonna cost money too.
Well, I'm seeing this money coming from,
It could come from
The
the
building
building, it
fund.
could come from the building fund.
whereas their insurance for their particular production comes from whatever funds they have. So I see those as separate.
Well, and that's what they're complaining about, is they don't have the money for the insurance.
Yeah, but I didn't hear them complaining about that.
No, I
I
know.
heard
That's a
asking
different
for
issue,
data.
we're talking about a
That's
different.
another
was-
issue, which
That
you
was
want to
because
understand.
I was bringing it up next meeting.
I
So
didn't know
I
that.
wanted you to be
David.
aware that
Paul.
that's also on the,
In the future
plate,
agenda?
yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So that there are
David.
two things that they're really asking for.
Okay, David.
Well, I'm not sure that we're asking yet to come back under the umbrella of the town and to be covered by the town insurance. I mean, it is an additional cost for us, our organization, to purchase insurance for all the events. Obviously, this year we've got 13 events lined up. And one of those events will require us to be in the building 2 nights.
Before we go down that road, because it's getting a little late on here, and that's an issue that's gonna need to be fully involved. We need to develop that, and we need to hear the whole thing. I don't wanna tag that to
This
color
might-
this issue.
I agree,
That's
Paul, this
what
is.
I'm not-
yeah, This is,
I'm not tying those issues together.
Okay, good.
I want to speak real quickly to this insurance because it's been on the table. I don't know that we're necessarily complaining about it.
Well, that's not what I heard.
Okay, so,
Well, I'd just like to listen to David finish what he's trying to say.
I don't believe
That's
it was a
disingenuous.
complaint. I don't believe you came to our meeting, it wasn't so we could complain. It was this town, you know, we have a fabulous resource, this town hall. I don't even know if the town realizes how spectacular this
Well, we
really
do.
is.
We
And it's-
certainly do.
It's very underutilized as far as how important it can be to the growth of this town, to putting this town on the map, to getting attention for the town of Jamaica, for serving our community and building our community. And I mean, to say that we were complaining, I don't think that's what we were doing at all. Right now, we do need the approval for this Wi-Fi, because we need it, as I spoke to today, we need it for the, you know, the beginning, there's a concert that night as well. There's, like David said, 12 to 13 events for the season. And actually, if we had Wi-Fi, we could do a lot more with Town Hall, which I think is one of the best assets this town has.
I think we're on the same page. I just don't want to have the insurance question that came up color this particular issue. I see this
Right.
issue.
I don't see how it can.
Yeah, well, it's been brought up when we're talking about it.
We have to take them separately.
We
We
need
should
to take
first
them
decide on the
Yeah, I
Wi-Fi.
agree.
I think we
I
ought to
just
decide on
wanted
the
to warn
Wi-Fi
you
first.
that this is coming
Coming
down
up.
the
I make a
pipe.
motion that we approve the $480 a year, I believe that's about
somewhere else,
somewhere, for
that'd be low.
the town to pay for the Wi-Fi for the town hall.
Second.
You have a second, any further discussion?
Just that it'll be installed with no installation fee and
Oh,
as soon as it
And I'll
can
be
be.
donating wireless equipment that I have just in my house, so I'll handle all that, and I'll set all that up for the town.
I just want.
Okay, it'll have to be, one of us will have to call Ernie.
I would think I can call him tomorrow and say that if you do approve this, that it was approved by the select board.
Do you wanna do that?
And then I'll just give him your contact and you can then call him tomorrow or next day or something.
You want to do it? Why don't you know?
Do it to him.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
I'll be around tomorrow.
Okay,
And
that's
we'll-
fine.
we'll-
He'll
I'll
he
call
can
you
take care of
tomorrow.
it.
I'll call Ernie and then I'll call you. So that
Okay, so, and we'll get this started.
Yep, perfect. He said a couple of
We haven't
days.
decided
Well,
yet.
we know right now.
I'll second that.
Got the second, right, and that was a discussion, good. Any further discussion? Hearing none? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. You and I will chat tomorrow.
Okay.
And I just wanna say one thing on the town hall, I don't know who this lady is, and I
My
know
name
you're
is
probably,
Sharon Carlin, I live in Stratton Gate
you're
Road.
probably new to the area, maybe a little bit.
Well,
But
I've been
that-
house 9 years, we
Right.
lived full-time 1 year.
The town hall was in disarray many years ago. It was falling apart. It was sort of a lost building. And several people got together with hard work and grants and everything. They brought it up to what it looks like now. So the town does care about the town hall. They always have. I just want to relate that to you. We aren't people that don't care about our
No,
buildings.
I
We do
wasn't
care
saying that,
about
but
them.
it wasn't, we weren't complaining about the situation, we were trying to help.
Right, I understand that.
We're trying to grow, the community in this town, you know.
Right, I
This is a
understand that
great
part of
way
it,
to
but I
do
just
it.
wanted you to be
Yeah,
aware
I
that
am aware.
people have worked very, very hard
All
to
the
bring that
people
up.
on the committee have brought me up to speed.
Everybody has, there's a lot of people, they're long gone, some are dead.
Some are
You know, I know it's off the record kind of, but that building and look what Putney has done with the Federated Church
Oh, yeah.
and how that's come around. You know,
That's
I can-
something else.
I know they're two different buildings, but there's a lot of possibilities.
One of the
For the-
things that's the most extraordinary thing about it is the level of the quality of the acoustics in that building. So
Right.
that anybody would
Right,
want
It
to
used
put
to be an
on.
opera house,
It's
that's,
fabulous, I mean, I've been to several concerts and you just can't believe what you're hearing now. And it's beautiful.
One of the things that, dovetailing what she says, we, and I'm sure the rest of the citizens of Jamaica, really appreciate the Arts Council for taking the reins on this project and making these things work. Because I think we all agree that any activity that raises the profile of Jamaica in the way of the arts raises us all. And so, for me, thank you very much for your energy and involvement in this. And we will do whatever we can afford to do to make this work.
and I think on the insurance part, why don't we take that up at another time, maybe the next meeting?
Yeah, I was going to
And
bring
we
it up at the
can,
next
we can
meeting.
Yeah.
Actually,
revisit
my
that, see what
arguments
the
are
town
the exact
has.
same as yours, saying
Really?
that's
It
why
needs to
we
be
need to
revisited.
consider
Let's
this whole
revisit that.
idea.
Okay, so
We're on
that
the
will
same
put,
wavelength.
we'll take that up 2 weeks from now.
Yes,
You'll send me an email, I'll put it on the
Yeah.
agenda.
yeah.
I want to thank you because I called you this morning and put you up against the wall and you came through for us, so thank you.
That's my normal position, up against the wall.
All right.
The last item on the agenda is time for public concerns.
David?
Mr. David, are you public? And your concern?
My concern is the traffic that will be on Water Street on
It's
Saturday.
taken care of,
Huh?
it's taken care of.
Just
The police are gonna be
David
there.
talk.
Yeah.
No, but it's an asset.
I guess there's no concern.
Go
What,
ahead, sorry,
please continue.
continue.
Okay, well, that is one of the things I was gonna ask about. And the second issue is, will the roads be cleaned prior to that weekend?
I don't
Of all
know,
the dirt and dust,
I don't know if it's been
Winter.
set up yet.
We don't have the contract
because
set
that's
up.
gonna create a huge amount of, because of the Arts and Crafts Festival at the Town Hall and the release weekends coming together, I fully anticipate Water Street will see a huge increased amount in traffic, more so than normal releases, just because of everything that's happening in town and at this intersection.
The answer to the question about the street sweeping, the way that operates is we're contracted with the street sweeper and he's got a schedule in his global schedule.
And I
And
don't
exactly
know
where-
what that is right now.
We don't know when that is. We don't know when he's coming, and I'm not entirely sure we can call him up PRN.
Let me check with Keith tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll get back to you, David.
Okay.
But that would be nice if we could pull it off, having said that.
5 days, it's turned into a dust storm down there.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
From winter to dust.
Yeah.
It's the country.
I know it is, I live down there.
But thank you for,
We'll have to look into that, because I know that it's been trying to schedule this guy, 'cause he's doing all the towns in the area, or a lot of them anyway.
We'll have a
or
police,
also with, if you've already
sheriff's department. about it.
worked out with the sheriff's department, that's awesome. Actually, ran into a state trooper at Karen's this afternoon, and we talked about it too, so they're gonna spread the word amongst their barracks or whatever it is, their district. So,
See,
yeah,
I know
I know that the release people are not problematic, I don't know that
No,
they
they're
cause
not.
problems, but
They're
it's just
in a
gonna be a lot of, there's gonna be a lot of cars up and down our street that day.
Sure. And that's a good point about scheduling, if we can do that. We'll have to check with Keith and find out what the story is on that. I don't know.
With that nice flat pavement and guardrail that we have, it just encourages people to go fast.
It's like skiing, they wanna see how many times they can get down the river.
Exactly.
It's excellent.
Any other public concerns? Yes, sir.
I took a drive today into,
But can you give us the address, identify yourself?
yeah, John Curland, Stratgate Road. Yeah, just drive into Jamaica Park today, and as I went over the bridge, the old bridge going before you get to the big bridge,
You're talking about
the little concrete bridge that
Yeah.
crosses
It's got holes in
Depot
it.
Street.
on Depot Street.
Right.
I was shocked to take a look at its condition, the concrete part of it. And I know it survived Irene because I was here and that was one of the few things that survived Irene. But it is really deteriorated from my recollection of it only a couple of years ago. Just the side walls, the concrete itself is eroded. It doesn't look like it could take much of a hit and still stand. I don't know if anyone's taken a look
Yeah,
at it.
I can answer that.
Oh, I was gonna let our new transportation committee chair, member. Do you wanna talk about it?
No, go ahead.
Did you discuss this with the transportation?
Well, I wasn't gonna go transportation, I was gonna do something else, but that's.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Go
you
ahead.
can go, Joe.
The Transportation Committee has downgraded the repair of that bridge in favor of the Green Metal Bridge, but we can temporarily fix it right through the town.
Right, I
The deck
have,
needs to be fixed.
Yeah, that definitely needs to be fixed soon because
I
it is
have talked to our
dangerous.
road foreman, and he is, as soon as, he's gonna take care of it.
Right.
Okay, so that, you're talking
That's,
about
it's
patching it
already
up.
been packed, it's.
And my follow-up is, are either of those two bridges still within the purview of the FEMA funds, post-Irene, or is that all
No.
gone?
No, yeah, those two were not. We had some work done to the concrete bridge, minor, patched a little bit up, but they did not touch it.
I don't even think
This
the
is-
concrete bridge is on any list to
It
be
is, it
replaced.
is on the list, but it's been downgraded. It's
But it
on,
won't be.
Even, well,
Like
there's a
15
preference list of
Yes.
1 through 10,
Right.
but that bridge isn't even on that
it's
list.
not on that preference
Right.
list, but it's a
Right,
It's
That's what
about,
I was saying.
candidate or something.
15 years
it's about
out.
10 years out, isn't it, Joe?
yeah.
Well,
It's
it
about
could
10
be
years.
as much as 10 years, but
Right,
depending on how it deteriorates. Now, as a matter of fact, the Chris Campbell,
Campany,
I had a meeting with him about 3 weeks ago, and as we left the meeting, he said to me, "I've been watching that bridge and I'm very concerned about it."
Yeah, this
So that will help it along. It doesn't necessarily have to be on today's list to be in tomorrow's list. But right now, they've elevated the Green Bridge, which is more of a potential catastrophe, because technically there is a way around that cement bridge. You can go up to the
Right.
Route 30 bridge and then come around Water Street. I agree with you, that bridge, to me, it got hit by 3 houses or 4 houses.
Didn't phase it a bit, it's been since then.
Well, it may have phased it, it may have phased it, we just didn't see the phase.
Yeah.
But right now, the Green Bridge has no more I-beams, it has T-beams, because the top plate is deteriorated and the pressure-treated lumber is sitting on a rail instead of a plate. And the Army Corps of Engineers within the next 3 years has to fix the dam, which means bringing heavy equipment, and they've rated it for 8,000 pounds, not 16, even though it's legally 16. So that's gonna be a
To speak to your issue, it's really at the top of our heads.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we can do maintenance on that bridge and fix the potholes and those side holes in the cement, to me, look like some dog or kid could easily slide through that into the water.
I was concerned, just
Yeah.
walking it,
But
you
that can
can
be-
walk over it.
That, the town can fix that
Okay.
with its own maintenance funds.
Excellent. Thank you. Yes.
How do you get a hold of, the highway foreman now? There's no telephone down there?
Right now, we have to
No,
call
right now the
town
phones
office.
would be directed to us, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we
Okay.
have to call the town office.
'Cause I patched a couple of holes up there. I was gonna ask him about it, but I just went ahead and did it. No water was running out on the road and I put the ditch
Sinkholes.
back where it was. And we've got some, that narrows there, it's really getting washboard bad. I mean, it's deep.
really something.
So if he gets a chance,
They will be working on it. They are working on all the roads.
yeah, I know they're busy, but
They've been up pretty steady. They're-
as long as I'm here, I might as well complain about
You
it.
might as well.
It's right there, you're
It'd
public
surprise me if
concern.
you didn't.
surprised Judy hasn't.
Right, it's,
Right, but they are working on the
No
roads.
special treatment, I guess, Judy.
no special, only one place. And it's where, I can't think of his, Tim Bills lives. And he's in charge, or he works for the state roads. And his area is nice and smooth. And you
better
notice
edit
that
that.
right in front of his house.
Edit that.
So when I see him, I'm gonna say, oh, you got pulled here, huh?
Any other public concerns?
Just teasing.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Have a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, let's call it 8.
We have to vote.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now it's 8:22.